Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
This is Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, known better to traditionalists and longtime fans of motorsport as Mosport, as the RSRA Superseries heads to Canada for the first time in 2022. 2 rounds down, 2 different winners, including the defending Bathurst 1000 winner Dylan Rudd on the comeback trail after a disappointing opening round. But the task is being taken to him tonight in qualifying, because the man that won the opening round in Cory Shepard has bounced back to set the provisional fastest time with a few minutes left in this qualifying session. That could change between now and when we get going. And Brian Borg on the comeback trail as well. There's a few names that haven't troubled the scorers to the extent that they'd like to this point of the championship so far. They'll be looking to turn things around on one of the fastest tracks on the calendar. This is, of course, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Fast, flowing, undulating circuit. Terrific for racing. And it should deliver an absolute cracker for us here tonight. Good evening, everybody. Zach Caban, Matt Davis, Daniel Leet here with you as we welcome you to Tuesday Night Motorsport on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting. And we do so with an apology first up, ladies and gentlemen. You might have noticed that we had some serious, what I like to refer to as the mechanical issues at the sim world. A tech issue last night, unfortunately, which meant that we didn't get to bring you all of the RSRA Super2 E-Series encounter that unfolded at the same venue. But in good news for all concerned, the joys of actually having technology backup plans in place and technology that works, we are going to bring that to you in an encore screening of a special replay affair, a special edition of Wednesday Night Motorsport tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Yes, daylight saving is over. The burden on Queensland, Western Australia and the Northern Territory now behind us. Our boys that race in those parts of the country breathing a sigh of relief tonight, because they've actually been able to get home and not rip, tear, rush and bust straight to the sim. They've been able to ease their way into the evening. And the same goes for us in the commentary box as well. Dan Leet, Matt Davis, welcome into you. Wanted to cover that off the top to start with so that everybody knows that, yes, they will get to see the Super2 E-Series race from the same venue tomorrow night. So no spoilers, please. But Mosport, Matt Davis, it's nice to have you back on a Tuesday night. A great circuit for racing. I'm expecting a fast race and an absolute belter tonight.
Cabo, Dan, JP, big warm welcome to you and everybody watching at home across all the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting all around the world. Yeah, Mosport, what a fantastic track. Unfortunately, I've got no commentating call to go off from last night due to what we had, but the encore tomorrow night is definitely going to be something special. What I've heard amongst some of the drivers is one of probably the most entertaining races we've had all season long. It's probably even going to go one better than Barber or Super2 Barber last week. So one I'm looking forward to. The rematch I'm looking forward to tonight, though, at Mosport, Cabo, is between Rainer Costello and Sean McNamara. Now, those two raced in another league on Sunday night and had a really, really good battle through that. So I'm really interested to see how these guys go. It's the second time out this week for them here at Mosport. They've got the experience under their belt, just like Shepard and Rudd and Borgie. So this is going to be a really interesting top 10 battle tonight at Mosport.
Indeed it is. Now, deputising for you last week was Daniel Leet. You did a bang-up job of it as well, mate. Welcome into you. You're only going to be with us momentarily tonight. You've got a few other things to attend to here, but it's great to have you on board to have a chat here as we get going. We've got about 10 minutes before the race gets underway, 5 minutes left in qualifying, folks. So continue to enjoy what's left of qualifying at the top of your screen there. You can see that Shepard leads Dylan Rudd and, Cory Shepard leads Dylan Rudd, leads Brian Borg. And, of course, you've got Rainer Costello and Sean McNamara rounding up the top 5. But, Daniel, welcome into you. As I say, you're only with us momentarily tonight. Therefore, we'll make the most of the time we've got with you, mate. Let's get your thoughts on last week, because it was some sort of fight around Barber Motorsport Park. We always knew it was going to be. We got a safety car deployed for Bruce Tannock, of course. I think he's still recovering from the dizzy spell that he suffered as a result of going airborne over the fence. But in the end, Dylan Rudd just a little bit too good for the boys that dominated week one.
Yeah, good evening, guys. It's great to be back again. And Matt, look, I kept the seat warm for you, mate. It's all ready to go for tonight. But you're right. We saw some fantastic racing last week. Tannock has got the the pirouette move of the season down. I don't think anyone's going to top that one so far, but the racing was hard and fast all the way through for Barber as well. And it presented some really good opportunities. We saw some strategy come into play. Didn't work out for the likes of Leonage and Pereira, but it was good to see the options being thrown around.
Indeed it was. And what are your thoughts very quickly on Mosport, mate? Because this will be a completely different playing field again. 3 completely different tracks to start the season. Mosport in its unique way. Very different to Barber in a sense of, okay, we're going in the opposite direction. We're going clockwise instead of anti-clockwise. The layout is vastly different. However, it's still got that fast-flowing feel combined with a little bit of Winton in sense of a couple of the tighter corners on the racetrack as well.
Yeah, look, it's a really unique challenge, this one, because obviously you need the high-speed cornering and straight-line speed to get the best out of the lap here, but you also need some agility, especially through 5 and 6, where you're braking uphill, you've got to rotate the car through that double right-hander to get it to work. So it's a really technical circuit in a sense. As much as it looks simple on paper when you look from above, it's a lot involved in it, and especially the run through 1 and up over 2, it's very easy to throw it away. I mean, the grass is just on the outside there, much like we saw at Barber. It's a unique challenge. Now, we've had 3 unique challenges, you say early on. The next big one is going to come also next week when we move off to Long Beach.
Yeah, absolutely. Cannot wait for Long Beach. Of course, that's the next stop on the calendar. In fact, we probably should, at this point in time, give everyone a quick refresh of where we're going and when, if that's okay, on our screen here. There it is. So Long Beach next week, then on to Lime Rock, and then Road Atlanta. So a 3-week sweep through America, and then on to the flyaway races, if you like, Imola, Oran Park, Donington, then back to America for the round in South America at the Interlagos circuit in Brazil, then to Road America, then to Mount Panorama. So lots to look forward to. And of course, next week, Dan leads us into a very good point there, Matty Davis. We get to go sprint racing for the first time this season. I'm very excited about that. But more importantly, what are your thoughts on tonight?
Oh, the sprint racing I'm going to be looking forward to next week immensely. But that's a tough question, really. I'm not really entirely sure, to be honest. Cabo, where to lead with that one?
Fair enough. All right, on that note, let's have a look at the championship points, because we do know where to head with that one as we enter round 3 of the series. After 2 rounds, Cory Shepard on top, 299, plays Dylan Rudd, 297. So still, even though Dylan Rudd bounced back last week, Shepard still has the advantage, holds sway at the top of town. Rick Kuznetsov, 293, then a gap back to Sean McNamara, 284, 281 for Rainer Costello. McNamara was good last week, Costello as well. Brian Borg on 280 points. He's having a good run in qualifying here. We'll detail that in a moment. Rehan Leonage, he's been a little bit quiet to start this season as Rehan. Cameron Jones, Dylan Pereira, and Wade Sheedy making up the top 10. We'll let that scroll through so you can find where your favourite driver is sitting at this point in time. We'll have a look at the track map and notes in just a moment. I'll get the thoughts from both of you. It is, from our standpoint as commentators, I hope you agree with me when I say it is so good to have another heavyweight team here in Premier with obviously Shepard and Kuznetsov. It takes the fight to the likes of McNamara and Rudd, but there are a few guys beyond that, thinking Rainer Costello, thinking Rehan Leonage, that if they flex their muscle and get up there, we could have one of the most competitive championships we've ever had.
Yeah, I'll let you start with this one, mate.
Yeah, look, you're right. I think getting a big name like Premier in there, and obviously the likes of Shepard and Kuznetsov coming to join, and it only lifts the driving standpoint further. I mean, they've now got the target on the back. Everyone else needs to lift, and we'll see better driving as a result from it. So yeah, it's only good things as far as the series is concerned to have teams like this coming on board.
Yeah, Dan hit it on the head there, Cabo. I mean, it's having the likes of PRT come on board. It's going to make these, as Dan said, other drivers lift, but it's going to really bring it alive at the end of this 12-week season where we're going to be sitting up. But as qualifying just wraps up, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into some track notes and get into the itty-gritty business to find out what's going out on track tonight for the drivers.
There they are.
This is where you come in, mate, and you're up.
Yeah, I'm up, all right. We're up and about, ready to rock and roll. Of course, first trip to Canada for the year. We visit a total of 6 different countries in the RSRA Super Series for Goodyear Autocare Warana in term 1 of 2022. So the circuit is 3.55 sorry, 3. I can't quite read that. 3.95 kilometers. I'm reading off the screen, not my my laptop at the moment. I do indeed. So 3.95 kilometers, smidgen under 4, which means that it's still the longest circuit we've raced on this season. Fair enough, too. Just it's slightly longer than Barbara and much longer than Winton. 56 kilometers an hour along pit lane, or where the speed limit there. 10 turns. Race date, 5th of April 2022. There'll be 41 laps tonight, 162.4 kilometers. 50 litres is the fuel restriction that they'll start with. A burn of 2.8 litres a lap. Well, more on that in just a moment, because obviously we're looking somewhere in the vicinity of
14,
17, 18 laps. Yeah, exactly. So as with regards to the fuel burn, 2 pit stops. Tyre limit is also 2, the set they start on and the set they take on in either one of those 2 compulsory stops. The air temp 23 degrees, the track temp 26 degrees. The wind direction is a northerly and at 7 kilometers an hour. Previous winner here, no surprise, Lasse Leonage, and he has the lap record as well, 1:16.817. That one might be a little bit, that might be under a little bit of a threat tonight, because we saw last week, boys, Dan, it didn't take them long to topple, better, eclipse Tommy Hayman's record at Barber Motorsport Park. The stakes have been raised this year, and the guys have brought the pace to match.
Yeah, they absolutely have, and I think it's another one that we're going to see go by the wayside. Unfortunately, Delazzi's going to maybe lose that top lap record. But I mean, the cars are so quick around this circuit, and the way the guys are driving them at the moment, we're expecting some big things tonight. And I think the other thing you got to keep in mind, and we'll touch on it quickly, that fuel burn number will potentially go down the more that these guys are drafting as well. So we could see some extension in that top window also.
Indeed, we could. We've got a couple of course cars out on the circuit here, Matt Davis. Whilst the drivers are briefed on the do's and don'ts of tonight's race, we've got a 5-minute warm-up here. We will have cars on grid any tick of the clock now. We've got 3 3/4 minutes left in this warm-up session over 5 minutes. So that gives us a couple of opportunities to talk about where this race will be won and lost. And pit lane's one of those places, as always. Will be interesting to see what these guys do with regards to the strategy tonight, because as we say, 50-litre fuel restriction, which is 45% tank capacity when you take into consideration that it's a 110-litre tank. You divide that by the 2.8-litre fuel burn, you're looking at 17.8 laps. So that does 2 things, and I'll get Dan's thoughts on this as well, because we had a very similar situation at Barber last week. If we get a safety car, you started to entertain the thought of maybe doing it on 1 stop. That's number 1. Number 2, everyone will probably, unless we get an early safety car like we did last week, everyone will look to run long on the first stint, and then the variety starts to be coming into effect in the second stint there, because you've got a long overlap between the critical lap and the empty tank on a full tank from that 18 lap mark. So say everyone gets to 18, they can go as long as 36 before they come in and top up. However, we've got a couple of pit lane starts as well up on the top of your screen there, ladies and gentlemen. One for a pit lane, one for a qualifying tow, and one for another infringement that I didn't get a chance to have a look at there. So, impeding. So we've got, so there's been an impeding incident in qualifying and a tow in qualifying as well. So 2 drivers starting from pit lane. So the other thing is this, 18 from 41 is 23. So there's your critical lap. You can stop there and get home. You may have to save a little bit of fuel for the sake of the cool down lap. So let's round it up and say, okay, 24 is our critical number, boys. But you can go as long as probably 35, 36 if you want to. Tyre wear is going to be the determining factor, though, on where everyone comes in on that second stop.
Yeah, look, it's taking tyres that late, lap 36, anywhere between 35 and 37. It's going to play havoc on the guys when they come out of pit lane. It's going to take those tyres a couple laps to warm up, and then they've only got 2 laps to try and make up some moves, where they need to give themselves 6, 7, 8 laps worth of tyre life to be able to make those moves, make those positions, maybe even a little bit longer. So coming in and going for that long stint in the second half of the race and taking those tyres then, it might prove to be a big costly mistake for the guys that decided to do that one.
Yep, exactly right. Side by side down the back straight go the course car and the safety car. Dan, your thoughts on what Matt was just talking about?
Yeah, look, I'd probably tend to echo that same sentiment as well. I don't think it's a viable solution to try and put the tyres on at the back end of the race. That being said, if you're down the grid order, it might be worth trying that alternate strategy just to see if it can bump you up, because at worst, if you pit early and try and get out of sequence, you're going to put yourself a lap down early on. So you're going to want to run as far as possible into the race. For the guys up front, I think they're going to be getting in, get that early stop done, top the tanks up, run the full stint, and then go. I don't think you really need to invest around too much.
Exactly right. There's a lovely shot of one of the corner exits around Mosport. Then, of course, the Continental Bridge. Some good scenic shots of Mosport coming in to our broadcast at the moment as we prepare for drivers to come onto the grid here. We believe they're on their way to the grid any tick of the clock. So, boys, before I rip through this grid, who's your money on? Who's your tip, please? Quickly.
Oh, that's going to be a tough one. I'm going to have to say Shepard. He's quick, Randy. Very, very quick.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to sit on the fence on this one. I'm really not too sure. I'd love to see Rick get around his teammate. I don't know that it's going to happen, but I'd love to see Rudd come back through as well. I mean, he did an awesome job last week.
Absolutely. Big field tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look at it for you as the cars line up on the grid. We've got 29 on the grid here. Front row, Cory, Shepard, Dylan Rudd. Second row, Brian Borg, Grady Costello. Third row, Sean McNamara, Rick Kuznetsov. Any one of those capable of victory on their day. Jamie Dyke, Cameron Jones from row 4. Add them to the list as well. Dylan Pereira, Rehan Leonage from row 5. And then, of course, Luke Brundell and Blake Delaney from row 6. I tell you what, the depth of this field, Matt Davis, as you run through rows 7 to 12, is extraordinary when you think about Rehan Leonage being 9.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing, isn't it? Benny Morris and Brent Niski off row 7. Row 8's got David Kirby and Matty Scholes lining up next to each other. Robert Crusdale and Wade Shetty will line out row 9 there. Row 10, we have Bruce Tannick, the Pirouette King, and Simon Chadwick. Mark Newton and Brian Good occupy row 11, and row 12, we'll see Kai Turner and Hayden Sell line up next to each other.
From row 13, it will be the back end of the field, ladies and gentlemen. 13, 14, and 15 there. We're actually going to go. We're not even going to get a chance to get to rows 13, 14, and 15. They're racing at Mosport, round 3 of the Goodyear Warana Superseries. Cory Shepard donning a brand new look. Streaks away from pole and leads the field down through the Essence for the first time. So this sweeping section, usually viewed as a critical point of the track because so easy for drivers to come unstuck there. Then they've got that long sweeping right-hander that takes them down as they edge closer to the back section of the circuit under the Continental Bridge. Then that other big long drop, the sweeping left-hander. So the two sweepers, the two left-handers, 2 and 5, I think it is. They're the critical points on this circuit that you've got to be mindful of throughout the course of the night, because that's where drivers can so easily come unstuck on their lonesome.
Yeah, turns 2 and turns 4, you're after there, Zach. It's very, very tricky, and trying to get into Moss Corner as they come down the Mario and Andretti straightaway for the first time into turn 8, 9, and 10, the back half of the circuit. Another very tricky point. You come over a crest at the top of the straight there and dive it down into 8, onto brakes, trying to carry as much momentum as you possibly can into 9, hug it tight through 10, hug it through tight through 9, and then White's Corner. You want to try and get the best possible run. That's a lap of Mosport there, and on to lap 2 of 41, ladies and gentlemen, and that's how quick it takes to go around Mosport.
Good start, Rainer Costello slotted into 4th place, exactly where he started, following Brian Borg rather closely. Rainer Costello, Sean McNamara, and Rick Kuznetsov are 4, 5, and 6 at the moment. Jamie Dyke is 7th. Top 7 remain where they started. Now, very quickly, just to cover it off, you saw it there on your screen, but for the benefit of those that didn't, Dean Alessi was 25th on the grid. Stephen Banks alongside him, Simon Vella and Craig Schultz from the 14th row, and Hayden Norris from the back of the field. We noted there were 2 drivers that started from pit lane. I can tell you exactly who they were. Cameron Jones was one of them, and by the looks of it, Brian Good and Hayden Sell also started from down in pit lane. So difficult start for those 3, particularly Cameron Jones, because he's already dropped a lap on the pack.
Yeah, tough start for them. Yeah, haven't seen Cameron Jones even move off the start line, so I think Cam Jones might even have some technical difficulties. It does look like he's circulating back out on track finally. I'm not sure why it said he's a lap down, but something happened to Cam Jones off the start. Hayden Sell obviously had a infringement during qualifying. That saw him out of pit lane. He's going to be trying to get on the men to an incredibly fast-paced pack tonight. I mean, they're still locked from the front to the back. Dylan Rudd goes fastest lap of the race, a 1:16.18, and I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that even ties himself to the fastest lap around the circuit, which it is a 1:8. That goes faster than last Leonidas, actually.
Yeah. So
Leonidas by 7/10 of a second.
Yeah, swap it around. You had the 1:16.18 part, right? But I think you thought it was level with Lassie for the 8 and the 1 around the wrong way. Yeah, almost 7/10 of a second. Dylan Rudd has obliterated that lap record in the opening 2 laps of this race. Exactly what we saw last week. Once the field got going at Barber, it didn't take him long to obliterate Tommy Hayman's marker from the same time last year. So already lap records tumbling in the RSRA Super Series for Goodyear Autocare Warana. Down the back straight we go. Cory, Shepard, Dylan Rudd, Brian Borg, Rana Costello, Sean McNamara, Rick Kuznetsov and Jamie Dyke, the top 7. You've got Dylan Pereira up into 8th, Luke Grundle 9th, and unfortunately for Rehan Leonage, he stayed where he started down there in 10th place. He hasn't been able to make his way forward just yet. This is Mark Newton coming unstuck, coming onto the back straight. So easily done.
A little bit of a tailing moment. And how about Ben? That'll be creeping forward ever so slightly there just to get off the racing line. He's done the right thing though, held his brakes. And that's a very, very tight line around the back bump for those drivers out of 5B through 5C.
So Cory, Shepard, Dylan Rudd, 1 and 2. We pick up a battle further downfield there, of course. That's yes, Aiden Schultze. Yep, absolutely. So Craig Schultz, of course. So that's 208 down in 22nd position. I was just scrolling through the old leaderboard here trying to find him. He's down there in 22nd at the moment. But it just goes to show you, Dan, how tightly bunched these cars are from first right back through. It's very hard to find your own piece of real estate around this racetrack and be comfortable in it because there's always someone very close by.
Yeah, there's no room for error, and we just caught a glimpse of a car going off in the background through 6 there. But I mean, that's a pretty big Code Brown moment to have on the exit of 6 there, with a train of cars coming right behind.
Oh, Brian Borg and Ryan Costello got the elbows out. Brian Borg holds on to 3rd, but by the narrowest of margins. A lucky escape there for Borgie in the 017. Costello, McNamara and Kuznetsov ensuring that he's being put right under the pump at the moment. And that is an extraordinary start. I mean, yep, they've stayed where they've started, but the elbows are out. The intentions have been made clear. They don't want this to be a slow and steady follow the leader sort of situation, processional like. They want to get down to business and start actually racing earlier than they did last week. Onto the back straight they'll go. Brian Borg, we're on board with him at the moment. Costello tucks in behind. Slipstream critical on the back straight here at Mosport. Costello's not going to be close enough to make a move at the end of the back straight, but here they go into the braking zone.
You could throw a blanket over these guys from 3rd all the way down to 8th position, Cabo. It's just a tight-knit battle. It's red and yellow throughout our whole timing screen here, and it's just the pace hasn't settled off. There's a few gaps in between, but the battles have not stopped from the get-go.
No.
Costello strong in the back part of the circuit, but once we come to the front, you can see that Borgie starts to check out just that little bit. McNamara put the pressure on, so these drivers are starting to figure out where the strengths are, where the weaknesses are. And Dan, you'd be able to agree with this one. That's where it comes down to the consistency of the driver throughout the entirety of the race, should I say.
Just quickly before Dan jumps in there, Simon Vella in pit lane, boys. Unscheduled pit stop for Simon Vella.
It's going to be a tricky one for the guys. I mean, it's going to be like 100% concentration each lap, 41 laps around this circuit. So the only time you're going to get a margin of breath to sort of regain your thoughts and composure is when you bring the car in the lane, and even then you've got to be cautious because we've already seen so far this season plenty of drivers get a driving infringement for not getting in their box correctly. So you don't have a lot of opportunity around here. You might get a little bit of a look down the back straight, but you're always keeping an eye on that guy behind you, seeing will he make a move. And speaking of moves, got a couple more on the screen getting right into it.
Indeed we do.
Simon Chadwick pit lane drive through as well, Cabo.
So that explains exactly why he was on pit lane somewhat unexpectedly. He got a drive-through penalty. So, no, sorry, you're right. Yeah, no, my apologies. So, okay, so let's just, so Chadwick's in now for his drive-through. Vela in the 393 has already been in. Could Vela be on the reverse strategy, on the stop early and finish run deep?
Quite possibly.
That's
Quite
the only.
Possibly. That's very big strategy, and it could play a part around Mosport, but you've got the big slip trim down the back straight, which isn't going to benefit in clean air. At a place like Barber, definitely it would work for someone to go the reverse strategy. But at Mosport, you require that slip trim down the end ready straight, get you up and behind that driver.
So lap 7 of 41, 1/6 race distance for you on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting. We're watching Blake Delaney at the moment, the 08. In 11th place, following Rehan Leonage. We're riding with Ben Morris. So Delaney's just ahead of him, then Leonage ahead of them. We've got the right battle pack. David Kirby in behind. Then Wade Sheedy, Matthew Scholes, Robert Crisdale, all in close proximity at the moment. This is round 3 of the Goodyear Warana Superseries Tuesday night motorsport. A little bit earlier race start time tonight. Brought on because, you know, we've gone from having 15 time zones to 3. And that might be a slight exaggeration for you, ladies and gentlemen, but...
I don't think it is. I mean, there's quite a lot of 18th century now that we've all gone back to the 18th century, almost in the one time zone, so...
Exactly right. I just like that I was able to hop up and watch the news live this morning instead of getting it spoon-fed like a sloppy second. It was fantastic.
You're just happy to have your 7 o'clock show back on the television.
That's exactly right as well. I was very happy with that. And on the subject of television, there might have been an inkling of information leaked to us during the pre-show, Matt Davis, that our own Dan Leet here might be auditioning for Lego Masters in the not-too-distant future as well. But follow that space, ladies and gentlemen. Watch this space. On board. Follow that story. You heard it here first if it does come to fruition, I'm telling you. 8 of 41. The platforms of SimShed Broadcasting. There's Schultze. I had one of those dyslexic moments there earlier. I saw, oh no, have a look at this. Have a look at this. Borg still defending Costello. How good's this battle? Costello still getting used to the new number with him in number 56 as well. Big sideways moment for Brian Borg. Just barely hung on to it then. If it had snapped any further left, he would have been kissing Armco. 9 of 41. These guys on the ragged edge, but all the meanwhile, Shepard and Rudd have bolted. They're 2.4 seconds down the road. Rudd is 0.7 away from Shepard, who's got everybody's measure at the moment. They are going punch for punch in the RSRA Super Series for Goodyear Autocare Warana. We're riding on board with Rainer Costello. Run onto the back straight. Oh, so critical here. Let's ride with him and see what he can do to try and put the pressure on Brian Borg and maybe bring him undone or find a way to displace him one or the other. He goes very deep under brakes. He's right there, isn't he? Key exit here. You've got to get a good run out of the right-hander to set yourself up for the back straight. But really, the run into that right-hander starts with the run out of the downhill left-hander into the first of the double apex right there, doesn't it, boys?
It does indeed, yeah. And you just see Borg going already defensive around the outside or the inside. He's going to make it hard work here.
Oh.
It's the old dog teaching the young dog new tricks.
Absolutely. Costello was trying to get up on the outside, couldn't do it. That's no surprise. Difficult overtaking maneuver to execute here at Mosport.
It's hard to overtake in general at Mosport.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, speaking of which, on the inside there, Rick Kuznetsov trying to squeeze his way through on Sean McNamara and wasn't able to do it just yet. 10 of 41. Hope you're enjoying our coverage. How could you not be? The racing's been frenetic from the outset. I just wanted to say, too, apologies to Craig Schultz. I saw Hayden Norris right below him there and went with the old dyslexic taking one when I should have taken two. That's another story. But yes, we'll keep our eyes peeled on those guys a little bit later on. We've got, actually, that's the other thing. We've got two Haytons in the field tonight. We've got Sell and Norris. Norris has stopped early. Sell started from pit lane. So they've both had a very obscure sort of night at the office, the two Haytons in this field. Cameron Jones from the back of the field is up to 17th already. So that was a timing issue when we thought he might have been a lap down. Big squeeze, Bog's gone! The side's gone! It's a massive pile-up!
There's bets off and all!
Wow! Now, is that going to trigger a caution, or are they all going to be able to drive away from that? I really don't know. Costello's going to be able to limp it back to the lane. What a defining race moment this is. The move, was it on, was it not? We'll wait and see. We'll have a look at replays. It was very tight down there on the inside. Costello tried to go down on the inside after failing to get by on the outside. We'll come back to that replay for you in just a moment, folks. Here it is again. It was Borg on the inside, and then as he's moved across, Costello, instead of going to the outside, because, you know, if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. Costello went down the inside. Oh, and I don't think there was enough room there, unfortunately, for Costello.
No. Very ambitious move by Costello there. Borg just closed the door ever so slightly, saw Costello coming, and Costello just had nowhere to go, unfortunately, from there, and it was just a ricochet effect. McNamara got caught up in it because that's off. They didn't lose too many positions, thankfully, but that allowed Dyke and Pereira to capitalise. They're now sitting third and fourth.
So Borg lost out 8 positions in all of that. The elbows are still out with battles further afield, but having a look further down the order, who else has lost out in all of that? Cameron Jones is now up to 16th, just behind Rainer Costello, who is 15th. Brian Borg now 12th. Rick Kuznetsov and Sean McNamara got through back into 5th and 6th. So Jamie Dyke and Dylan Pereira, the big beneficiaries in all of that, up 4 and 5 respectively. McNamara and Kuznetsov, who were in close tow, they remain exactly where they were before the incident. It's just now they've got new opposition in front of them. Who's writing these scripts? You just couldn't predict that sort of drama so early. Matt?
It's a good question, but I mean, it was kind of that move that was always going to happen eventually. We've seen Borg now for the last 2 laps prior go very defensive and hold that inside line there, and it really sort of invited Costello to get creative. Unfortunately, just not enough room to get it done. I wonder if maybe he picked up a little bit of the grass on the outside there. We'll have a look.
Borg came in for a block by looks for that angle there.
Tell you what, good luck race control.
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say on that one. I mean, Jonathan Ben and his team in there, they are going to have, they're going to have an enormous task trying to pick that one apart, because there's 2 or 3 different things that have played out in the lead up to that. However, in saying all of that, it might be a case of too hard too early as well, boys. Now, I don't want to sit here and say, oh, you know, they're getting antsy, they're getting a little bit impatient. It's a 41-lap race. What are they doing? But at the same time, we weren't even quarter race distance when that incident happened. So, I mean, you've got to apply a little bit of common sense to it and think, okay, maybe the level of aggression wasn't befitting of the point of the race that we were in. I really don't know, because, yes, as Matt Davis said, or Dan, I can't remember which one of you said it now, there's been that much going on. It was always going to happen, that move, at some point, but that was more lap 40, lap 41 territory sort of move, when it's last gasp, trying to secure a position, trying to gain those extra 2 points. Not lap 10.
It's do or die. There we go. Car 56, contact on the 7th, drive-through penalty. So that's Rainer Costello is going to be seeing himself for a trip to pit lane now on that contact. We said it was going to be a tough call by race control, and they would have been stewing over that one. But I think it was a very dire move by Costello. He wanted to get on the move. He wanted to chase after Rudd, and Borg was holding him up just that little bit in that section of track, and just an ambitious moment there for Costello. He should have been a little bit more patient in trying to make that move, but there is not many moves places to make moves around Mosport, and unfortunately coming into turn 8 there off the Andretti straight. That's probably the only place other than turn 10 to make the move.
Now, here's the other thing as well, boys. And Dan, I want to get your thoughts on this. Championship defining moments. We talk about it each and every week in a series where all points count. The points matrix is the way it is, where, you know, it's 2 points here, 2 points there, back down through the field. And it's so genuinely hard fought at the top end of town, where you've got the most consistent of consistent performers, the likes of Shepard and Rudd doing their thing. Very rarely do you see them slip up. This is a costly moment right here, not just for Brian Borg, but definitely also for Reina Castillo.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we've seen, this field is so tightly compressed with the driving talent that's in at the moment. You need to get every point available to if you want to be in for a chance at a title at the end of the season. Now, we might see a safety car. It might come around later on that will bunch the field back up, presents the guys another opportunity, but you can't just throw away those point opportunities when you do get them. Now, I can understand for Costello wanting to get that move done, as the driver inside me says he's got the draft, sees a bit of an opening, and we go back to the age-old Ayrton Senna quote, you don't go for a hole, racing driver. It's a tough call to make, and especially at the speed they're going, he felt he had a bit better opportunity to get through. We know the outside doesn't work there, but you know, again, Borg is still a very technical driver, and he knows how to park that car just in enough of a position that it invites you into those opportunities, and unfortunately, it can result in some big mistakes as a result.
Certainly can, and unfortunately, that was one of them tonight. Lap 15. So in all of that, another 5 laps of the race have been chewed up. Lap 15 and 41 for you. Edging ever so closer to the first round of pit stops, boys, for those that haven't already transited pit lane. And I have a sneaky feeling that someone like David Kirby, who's coming on lap 10, is trying to even it out a little bit. Pit on lap 24, get home, whatever the case may be. Matty Stiles on lap 12, Cameron Jones lap 13. So you've seen a few guys come in and get it done early. You've got a few others out there still running the tank dry. Now, further down the field, that's young Schultz again, down on the inside. Very nicely done.
That was on Dean Alessi.
So a good move too. And that was for position. So Schultz moves up into 15th on that note, as Reina Costello comes into pit lane, and this will most likely be the service drive.
Yeah, Costello into pit lane now on the drive-through. I think he might have already served the drive-through, actually. And this might be for a pit stop, actually. So, yep, in for the pit stop. So he's already served the drive-through penalties, in for the pit stop now. He was down in 16th and 17th before he came in. So, he got the drive-through out of the way nice. He's going to get the pit stop out, try and find some clean air, and maybe get some crucial repairs done to that car very, very quickly and back out on track. Netsov, as we see, with very, very big front-end damage after that incident that he got tangled up in at the start with Costello and Borgie. And it'll be interesting to see how much McNamara got panel damage out of that one, because I think McNamara might have got off a bit touch-free on that one.
Yep, absolutely. That was the other thing as well, in a series where you don't have fast repairs. If they did sustain any damage whatsoever, they've got to nurse it. They've got to work with it and deal with it for the balance of the night, and that's not going to be an easy thing. Now, into the pit lane comes Cory Shepard. The race leader has pitted. Dylan Rudd released. Jamie Dyke, Dylan Pereira second and third, and arguing over the same piece of real estate. Then Sean McNamara, Luke Grundell, Ben Morris, Rick Kuznetsov, Rehan Leonage, Blake Delaney, and Wade Sheedy make up the top 10. All those guys beneficiaries of the garbage that happened between those 4 cars. Most specifically, of course, Costello and Borg, a few laps to go. And that also means we're guaranteed another new name on the podium, I'd say, tonight too, boys, because you've got 2 of the guys that would normally argue over a podium place out of contention. So, I mean, we've already had Cory Shepard, and we've had Rick Kuznetsov, and we've had Dylan Rudd. Jamie Dyke's now in with a real chance of getting himself on the podium. So too the likes of Dylan Pereira. So it's exciting times for those guys as Dylan Rudd comes to pit lane.
2 names we haven't seen much of so far in the podium. We know Jamie Dyke was a renowned guest up in the commentary booth last season towards the end, and Pereira, who's a Super 2 driver that was very, very familiar with when he first started out. It's good to see him come back and starting to mix it up. Obviously, a very favourite track of his of Mosport. You tend to see the strengths of which track drivers like and which they don't. And obviously Pereira is one of the lovers of Mosport, because a very, very stellar qualifying job by him, and he's now going to be able to fight it out. He's had to try and hold off McNamara, who was coming in, but he's now into the pit, so that's clear. But where's McNamara going to come out once Pereira takes his pit stop? This battle between Kuznetsov, Leonage, and I believe Benny Morris is really starting to liven up now.
Here's down the back straight we go. Will there be any more drama, any more stings in the tail here? What's still left to unfold before our eyes? This is going to be exciting stuff. Will we see a safety car at any point? I thought a 4-car pileup would have done it, but they all managed to drive away from the scene. It's only deployed if someone needs to cop the old tow treatment. There's Benny Morris. Slotting in nicely into 4th place at the moment. They're all in. They're all in. Dyke, Grundle, Morris, Leonage, Kuznetsov, all in right now. A little bit of a lock-up from Leonage as he enters pit lane. But the next batch of cars all on pit road right now. Dylan Pereira onto lap 19. Blake Delaney onto lap 19 without having stopped so far. Now, the onus will be on these guys to weigh up the positives and the negatives to only stopping once, because that might be a conversation they might be having with their team spotters and their team strategists at the moment, Dan.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, let's think back to Barber last week. Unfortunately for Leonage and for Pereira, they took the ultimate gamble with the safety car that came out. It did work for them, but we see them again pushing as hard as possible to go through. So, look, it potentially come through. I've been keeping an eye too on the timing and scoring, and following the pit stop there of Cory Shepard. He did manage to get back ahead of Dylan Rudd also, so it's status quo as far as that little battle's concerned. But yeah, look, the guys have done a phenomenal job so far to stretch the life of the fuel as far as they have.
They have, but no more for Dylan Pereira. He's in pit lane right now, so 19 is where he's got to. Now that's a critical point. Have a look at this battle pack in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen. Focus on them on screen. I'll go through the numbers off screen here. Blake Delaney's got trouble. There goes the KSP entry. Simon Vella's been turned around. Wow. The drama continues. Dylan Pereira, Stephen Banks both on pit road. Blake Delaney onto lap 20 without stopping. So Delaney's got 20 laps out of the first tank. If he can get to 21, you'd back him to do it again and get home. But we wait and see. And if you get a safety car right about now, Blake Delaney's in the box seat to do this on one stop. No one else.
As he goes off track as well.
Oh, no.
Delaney off track.
He's got back on, but a momentary lapse in concentration, a little bit of dirt cross, rallycross action for Blake Delaney. We go back to the battle between the 718 Cory Shepard and second place the 999 Dylan Rudd. This is on corrected order. The two championship combatants, neck and neck, nose to tail. Oh, how good's this? Rudd to the outside. Rudd to the outside on Shepard. Shepard hanging on the inside on the line line there. Rudd wants to force the issue. Rudd side doing Rudd. Can he get it done? No, he can't. Shepard hangs tough on the inside. Makes Rudd go the long way, do the hard yards, and it pays off because Shepard maintains the lead. But what a challenge that was, mounted by Dylan Rudd. Fantastic stuff. Blake Delaney onto lap 21 without stopping too, by the way. So that is, I reckon he's on the one-stop strategy, boys.
Yeah, Shepard's really plucking the time out of Delaney right now. Didn't help with that little off-track excursion, but Delaney is in, should I say, extremely high fuel-saving mode right now. So if he can make it a couple more laps, car 43 contact 393, that's Benny Morris on Simon Bella there.
Yeah, that was somewhat expected.
Off the pit lane. That's very expected for that one. Delaney could be on for that one-stop strategy, and he'd be banking on that safety car.
Certainly would be. lap 21 of 41. So half race distance for you, ladies and gentlemen. Corrected order once Blake Delaney comes in will be Shepard, Rudd, Pereira, McNamara, Dyke, Leonage, Grundle, Kirby, and Tanak, and Kuznetsov. Rick Kuznetsov not having an ideal night at the office here, but the other great unknown, the variation of fuel time as well, and stop time. Be right on board with Rehan Leonage. Up around the outside. Leonage, can he make it stick? Can he make it work around the outside? Oh, I tell you what, they're still side by side. This is
That's good racing.
That's great racing. It's clean racing. Main straight upon him. Jamie Dyke's going to hold on to the position for the moment. But again, that's one of the great things about Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. You started dual half a lap ago, and it's still going half a lap later. Fantastic from Rehan Leonage. He's got the elbows out tonight. He means business. He's sitting there in 6th at the moment. It's 5th on corrected order. He has managed to move his way forward tonight. It's good to see. It's been a difficult start of the campaign for him. Sure, he's finished both races, but last season, term 3 of our 3-term 2021 calendar year, he was winning and 2nd and 3rd each and every week. It was very rare not to see him on the podium. This year he's already not been able to get on the podium twice. Now, Rudd outside again. Shepard's going to make him work for it tenfold tonight. If he wants this win, he's going to have to do it the hard way, the long way round. Rudd, no. Shepard covers it off again for the moment, but still they're side by side. Now Rudd yields and tucks back in. Now,
very good.
Himself up again onto the main straight. I tell you what, they kicked up a bit of dirt there too. Shepard now defending on the run into turn 1 as a result. Matt.
Big note to take of Dylan Rudd. When he popped out of Cory Shepard, you see the minute that he pops out, Cory Shepard goes back to the middle of the track. So he knows that Rudd's not going to come back down under him. Rudd needs to be patient before he pops out, because Shepard might preempt that he's going to go to the left again this time round and leave the door open on the inside. Rudd really needs to pay attention right now to try and capitalise and make Cory Shepard hold off for as long as possible on that inside before he makes a move. Watch down the Andretti straight one more time. Watch Rudd get right up under the slipstream here, boys.
Yep. And watch him have a crack.
And Cory Shepard hugs the inside. Rudd straight back to the outside, and watch Shepard holds the inside back to the middle of the track again.
There was nothing in that time around. Matt Davis round the outside. This time goes Dylan Rudd. Is this a case of third time lucky? Did they want from Rudd? He couldn't quite capitalise on it because of the fact that the next corner was a right-hander. It worked into the hands of Shepard. But Rudd is edging ever so closer to being able to consolidate the move. Keep an eye on this. That was astonishing. And again, these guys at the top of their powers, at the peak of their prime here, doing what they do best, showcasing exactly how it's done. Door panel to door panel, they didn't touch, and they kept it clean. And Rudd had his nose in front for about 3.5 seconds. And Shepard stole it back from under him, and that's exactly what we go to talk about. Overtaking opportunities on this circuit, not easy. Sure, there's plenty of overtaking opportunities. Consolidating them is the absolute mongrel of this racetrack. Because of that right, left, right nature of corners at the end of the lap, you can see Dylan Rudd look to get his nose in front again at the end of the back straight here. He's not going to be close.
There he goes!
There he goes! Down the inside this time. Shepard, the only time he leaves the door open. Now Rudd gets himself down on the inside.
That's
Rudd
what
on the inside. Shepard gets him back. Now, who's going to have the run into the last corner? He can't hold it. Rudd's got him. Rudd has finally sold in the dummy and got him on the up and under.
That's exactly what I was trying to talk about earlier on, boys. Rudd needed to wait for that moment. And Cory Shepard, he goes, he's been there once, he's been there twice, he's been there 4 times. Rudd played the dummy too good. Pulled Cory Shepard and then ducked. He went to the left. He's seen Cory Shepard start to move, and he drove straight back down on the inside and got the move done. Still had that slingshot from the slipstream engage and just powered on past into turn 8. That was a fantastic move by Rudd.
Wow. drive-through penalty as well here.
That's Benny Morris
Benny
again.
Morris, multi-car contact. So there's been another incident. We haven't seen that one, but multi-car contact. And Benny Morris has his second drive-through of the night.
That's
Oh, trouble. Bell's managed to get moving. So what's unfolded here for Hayden as we come into the main straight? Last turn. Oh, he's gone coming into pit lane. Oh, no.
Done it on his own.
All on his own. That's a little bit embarrassing.
And stalls it
Oh, no.
on national TV. Our director says, Shepard in the pits. So Shepard's gone early.
Yep. He's going to try and cover Dylan Rudd off. He's going to try and get him on the undercut.
New tyres. Rainy now.
I say, gents, let's not forget though. Last time by, Shepard was in a lap earlier than Rudd as well.
Yep. Although that being said, we're now at a point where it won't matter when they pit. They can all fuel up and get home. It's just a matter of how much fuel they've got to take on board. So the later you can leave it, maybe you might save yourself a little bit of time on the refuel front. Who knows?
I seem to be holding up tonight.
Very well. Absolutely.
I mean, to see Rudd and Shepard not just one lap, but 3 laps in a row, side by side, even 4 laps in a row, side by side, through 8 and 9, the fastest parts of the circuit, where it's most tricky. It wants to push the car out onto the grass. They're holding their lines. They're not touching, and they're racing clean. To see that just goes to show, and Dan, you probably agree, the tyres are holding up exceptionally well around Mosport, even though it is a very high tyre degradation track, especially the long, fast corners that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the guys have really used this week's official series well to set up the balance of these cars. And we're seeing the racing throughout the field, realistically, has been pretty knife edge. All these guys looking for different opportunities. They're very equally matched as far as outright lap pace goes. And then they're holding it on beautifully. So they've done a phenomenal job over this week just to get these cars set up, which for a circuit that's not an easy one to get right, as we touched about early on in the broadcast, they've done awesome. And I think we're going to see the fireworks really come to a head for this last stint now.
So Rudd or Shepard, who have you got from this point? Because I tell you what, that was astonishing stuff. Cory Shepard, defense, and then obviously flipped the guard once. When he realised that Dylan Rudd was on his outside, he's moved across, and Rudd's just said, thank you very much, slipped up the inside and said, I'll take that away from you now. I sold you the dummy. You fell for it. Thanks very much. And interesting too, because as we've seen there, holding the outside line works through the right-hander, but then the problem was no one was able to get through the left-hander on the inside and move across far enough to the right-hand side to cover off your opponent because of the fact that they were side by side. How many times have you seen that before, boys, where when you're in a competitive fight, the key is to get across into the line of your opponent and cover them off that way. No one's been able to do that at Mosport because of the nature of the flowing final section of corners. So that might be another piece of racecraft knowledge that they need to have up their sleeve in the bank, ready to go for that final few laps. Have a look at this battle in the meantime, though. That's Rick Kuznetsov, Blake Delaney, and Simon Chadwick, I think you'll find, onto the main straight. And we've got 14 laps to go. Fastest lap of the motor race, 1:16.02 from Cory Shepard, if you don't mind. The screen lights up purple.
That's a whole second quicker than Dylan Rudd's last lap. Dylan Rudd has to answer to this one, boys. He has to pit now because Shepard, he is on a mission. That's blistering quick.
Oh, yeah. And then some. And then some.
0.8 of a second faster than the fastest lap that Leonard set last year. A whole second quicker than Dylan Rudd's last lap, last time round. That's some serious pace from that man right there. That's if he can get past the traffic that's in front of him of Luke Grundle right now as well.
Yep, have a look at this down the back straight. They come. This is Shepard trying to displace Grundle. Can he do that on the inside at the end of the back straight? Yes, he can. Thank you very much. Shepard up to 5th. But the problem he's got is that everyone that he comes across from this point forward is either going to be a lap down or on a different strategy to him. So he's up against it now. As you just said there, Matt Davis, he had to find space to get by Grundle and do it as efficiently, as quickly as possible to not compromise his race. Now we wait to see what Dylan Rudd does in response. He's going long by the look of it. This is the 12th lap of his stint. 28 and a half gone, 12 and a half to go. You're watching Tuesday Night Motorsport on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting. A drive-through penalty has been issued as well at this point in time for the 0-1-9, which is Cameron Jones. So that'll be for the incident on lap 26.
Nah, pit lane infringement.
Oh, pit lane infringement. Incident on lap 26. Pit lane infringement. So that would have been when he came in for his second stop, and now he'll be making a third. And an unscheduled one at that too, unfortunately for Cameron Jones. He started from pit lane as well, so he's plummeting down the order at the moment. Costly little mistakes that define the outcome at the end of the season. We've seen it so many times before.
Costello just gets round Borg there. So Borg not having a great night after the incident. Costello trying to come on them. The attack back through the field after he's completed his 2 compulsory pit stops. Now starting to put the pressure on Tanek. Rudd still yet to pit, ladies and gentlemen. We'll keep you updated on him. Herrera and McNamara, your top 3. Then Leonard, Shepard, Grundle. Oh, the 605.
The drive-through penalty for
That's
the
Matty
605. Yep, Matty Scholes has been done for misuse of radio comms.
That's
and
Scholesy.
And this is one of those points that we actually talked about last week, Dan Leake, because we, Rick Kuznetsov, Dean Alessi, and in the meantime, we actually had one of the drivers issued with a warning for the same thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, race control, you've got to call in your moves and issues smooth, clear, by the book. There's definitely a rule book out there on what you need to do. Is be one of the right
Tanek goes wide in the wall.
Oh, massive hit
Tanek
by
in the
Bruce Tanek.
wall.
But he's okay to limp it back to pit lane.
It looks like
Back to pit
Costello
lane,
and
that's not a
Tanek
problem.
may have just touched ever so slightly.
Let's have a look at this. This is Costello and Tanek. Costello on the inside, Tanek the outside. Yeah, Tanek's on all of his
Tanek's too
own.
late.
I think there's a little bit of
Caught the
net code.
tyre wall and then caught the concrete. Go for it, Dan.
It looks like a little bit of net code involved in that incident as well. But I was going to say, as far as the rule book's concerned, it's pretty clear cut. It's call your number, say your issue, move on with it, wait for race control to say. The minute you blow up, you're asking for a penalty, if not a drive. And as you say, we saw that last week at Barber. So a little surprised to see that continuing on. That being said, we've already had a couple of guys get thinged with the pit lane infringement, which is another thing we saw massively last week as well. So key drivers might need to have a quick gander at the rule book following, get that back in the mindset.
31 of 41, ladies and gentlemen. Rona Costello on your screen right now with the fight back through the field. He's starting to chase down Chadwick. Borg hot on his tail. Rudd still yet to hit. Cory Shepard plucking away at those lap times. He hasn't gotten out of the 116 yet. Rudd into the pits.
So Rudd, this is the critical point of the race. Yep.
Right on cue.
Critical point of the race. This 10 laps to go. And Dylan Pereira's followed him in as well. So, and
stays out.
By the way, boys, this is going to be an exceptionally quick motor race. The clock is...
Look at Rudd. Still in the box. Shepard comes around. Blitzes by Rudd.
We only...
Big.
Shepard, an extraordinary lead.
That's huge. That's 4, 5, 6 seconds over Rudd.
And it's one race position as well. Luke Grundle, who's yet to stop, and Sean McNamara, who's yet to stop. So McNamara's the leader at the moment. Shepard second, Grundle third, Rudd fourth, Delaney fifth. First, third, and fifth yet to stop. So at the moment, your podium looks like it's going to be Shepard, Rudd, Dylan Pereira. At this point in time, Dylan Pereira will be absolutely delighted with that. The other point as well I was making, as all sorts of hell broke loose there, boys, this race is going to be done and run and won in inside an hour, well inside an hour. Last time by the line, 40 minutes and 32 seconds. The boys have blitzed this one out of the park.
That's a very, very quick race by these guys. It just goes to show that Mosport, the track is really, really fast this evening. or this afternoon in SimWorld time. And the drivers are really starting to turn on. I mean, to see a lap record of Cory Shepard at 1:16.02. What can Rudd do to answer this? Can he get anywhere near that? Can he improve on his 1:16.18, which is his fastest lap of the race? And can he make the move on Shepard? He's only got Grundle to dispose of, but Grundle still get hit, and that's a very big gain by Shepard. Though it's 10 seconds back to Grundle for Shepard, then a further 8 seconds back to Dylan Rudd. So I was great. Safety car board and flag.
Wow.
That's lucky. As we're just talking about the gap between Shepard and Rudd there, boys. Safety car get called.
Are you kidding me?
And more to the point, what's brought it out?
Well, that's exactly right. What has brought
it out. So, for the ladies and gentlemen at home are wondering what us boys are talking about in the booth, our director JP is in our ear, chiming in our ear, going, what's brought the safety car boards out? What's brought, did Pereira and McNamara, where were they situated when the safety car got called? Was Pereira in front? Was McNamara in front? So if you're a little bit jumbled up on where our comps were on that one, that's why our director JP decides to chime in, and we completely zone out and just talk back to him like he's on the air. So
it's true. It's happened so many times before.
Grundle in the pits.
Other point as well, just on the subject of our director, I've got a frozen screen on my feed from him, so not sure what that's all about, but we do have Luke Grundle in pit lane at this point. So safety car, boards and flags. And
this looks like the 605 of Matty Scholes, ladies and gentlemen. Through turn 2A. Oh, he's in the Mosport. Oh, cleans it up in Mosport, gets stuck in the wall. That's a very, very interesting spot. Oh, not interesting spot, Dan, but a very easy spot to come undone, especially coming into Mosport with the amount of speed that you're carrying through for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we always throw a little bit of damage on the front of Scholes' car there as well, so that helps the car. But surprising to see the walls suck that car in as much as it did. We've seen it at other circuits where it does happen traditionally. We haven't really seen it here tonight at Mosport, but it's an interesting one. We now know the cause of the safety car, but mate, what a final 7 laps this is going to bring to us. Shepard now on some slightly old tyres. He came in a few laps ago. Rudd on fresh boots, low fuel. This is on for you now.
And it's been that interesting as well, Cabo. We haven't gone to a crank up the volume segment tonight.
No, and I doubt we will get a chance to now.
I doubt it now.
Up, we're going to have all eyes on what's happening on the racetrack here, in the hope that we will be able to correctly articulate exactly how frantic this final few laps is going to be. So we're on 34, next done by the line, 7 laps to go, and therefore probably green flag either 6 or 5 laps to go at worst. A couple of cars being released from the pack at the moment because they are a lap down. They're being waved around. And, wow, a sting in the tail. As if we needed one. The race was frantic enough without the sting in the tail. And Cory Shepard will be so disappointed that this has come about now, having worked so hard to build up that lead on Dylan Rudd.
Race control have just messaged us as well, Cabo and Dan. They're going to be reviewing where McNamara and Pereira was in accordance to one another when the safety car got called. So this will be either a position change or a stay the way it is before we go green flag racing. So we'll have that resolved in the next within the next lap.
Be interesting to see where it lands though. I can guarantee if they do make a call on it, Cory Shepard is going to be praying that there's a car between him. We don't know if it'll happen yet though. That's the big ticket item, is how are they going to work this out before we get back to green flag racing.
Delaney currently sits in 3rd, so McNamara's got one more spot to make up to make it back to a podium position. Delaney's played the smart game tonight, boys, and he's still only on 1 stop. He hasn't gone for that 2nd stop yet, so Can he make it to the end on this one stop? He would have taken tyres in his first stop as a safety precaution, I would say. In case the safety car did get called, and lo and behold, look what happened. His good graces came to save him tonight.
He's done a phenomenal job to get the distance out of the tank of fuel that he's been able to do so far. This the really interesting thing for me now is once we get back word that safety car is going to deploy, Cory Shepard, where does he consider his opportunities to get this race restarted and back underway? Because if it stays as it is, with Rudd behind him on those fresh set of boots, he's going to want to leave it as late as possible.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough choice for Shepard, I'd say, down on that one. It's a very hard one to call from as well. I mean, the safety car will peel off just after on the entrance to the Mario Andretti straight. Cory Shepard will have control of the field there, ladies and gentlemen. And Cory Shepard can go anywhere after the exit of turn 9. So the minute that rumble strip ends, which is about where the safety car is now, Cory Shepard can go any time from now on. So if my guess is correct, Cory Shepard should go right about the apex of the corner where he can start to apply the throttle and really plant it coming out. He'll try and pick up the pace just a little bit. Mind you, he's still got to maintain that steady pace, but it's going to be a very, very tough call. Very, very tough call for Shepard here where to restart the race so Dylan Rudd doesn't apply that pressure on that first opening lap.
I wonder if you go the slightly odd mark here and you throw it early. I don't know if any of you blokes watch the GT World Series, but from Imola, we saw plenty of guys take the opportunity second to last corner to get the run back underway and extend a fairly hefty jump on the field. So could be another opportunity here. I imagine a lot of drivers are going to think very much like you and I, back them right up until the final corner.
Yeah, it's very, very true. McNamara has redressed the position right now. Zach Caban just sorting out some technical issues on his end, ladies and gentlemen. He'll chime back in very, very shortly once he has fixed those and can get a live picture back on his screen. The U-Picks of the MDN world are striking yet again.
And the Foxtel one's at that as well, Matt Davis, but that's another story for another day. Who's your pick from here, boys, very quickly?
I might have to change my mind on this one. I think Rudd might have it, but it's Cory Shepard. He's quick. He's just too quick. So I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence. I really am on the fence with this one. It's a tough decision between Rudd and Shepard. There may be carnage as well, Dan, at the start. That could promote Delaney into the lead. Could promote McNamara and Pereira into the lead. We don't know what's going to happen off this restart.
Exactly. I'm going to say maybe we see the safety car across the line first.
Who knows? Safety car lights out. Cory Shepard control the field, ladies and gentlemen. 80 to 100 kilometers an hour. Only a couple laps left of the race. 36 of 41, ladies and gentlemen. They're on now. When they cross the line, it'll be 37 of 41. This is going to help out Blake Delaney on that one-stop strategy. Can he master it? He's going to be a driver to look forward to. Through turn 8, they come nice and slow. Where's Cory Shepard going to go? Watch closely for the back end of the Ford Mustang to dig down. Watch for Rudd to make the jump. Through turn 9 they come. There goes Shepard. No, not yet. Now he goes for it. Gets the surprise on Dylan Rudd. Cross the line. Big slide by Shepard. We are green flag racing once again, ladies and gentlemen. Through turn 1 they come. Shepard out for 2 car lengths already over Rudd. Can he make up that ground? Delaney in hot pursuit. Pereira didn't get the jump that he wanted for. He's going to have McNamara for hot company. Through turns 2 and 2A they come. Down to the chute to Quebec corner in 3. Shepard, comfortable lead right now. He's managed to get the jump. That's where it's all going. Safe restart back further in the field. Not too many positions have changed so far. Into Moss corner they come. One more time. Can Rudd make up this ground? Shepard is on a power trip right now. He's pulling out 5 milliseconds.
So much to play out in the next few laps, boys. What are we? 5 laps to go. 4.5 along the back straight. Shepard, Rudd, Delaney, Pereira. Hey, how lucky for Blake Delaney. He's the guy that benefits most from this, boys, because he stopped on lap 21. He's not going to stop twice. He was able to save enough fuel, I reckon, under that safety car Who knows? He might be able to pull off a surprise packet here and hold off Dylan Pereira and snare a podium. What a story that would be. But the story we're following is Shepard and Rudd, 1 and 2.6 the margin with 4 to go at Mosport.
Shepard 2/10 faster lap that time round, 1:16.20 to Shepard, 1:16.40 to Rudd. Delaney, personal best of his race and matched Dylan Rudd's time. So he's not allowing these front three to get away all right now, boys and ladies and gentlemen at home. McNamara putting all the pressure on Pereira there. Dyke with hot company, Leonard's hot company, as well as Kirby. It's a freight train right to the back of the field. There is not a car width between them right now. This is absolutely fantastic racing to close out the race at Mosport tonight on your Tuesday night motorsport. Up and ready straight one more time. And Cory Shepard starting to check out. He's almost out to a second lead, 0.8 of a second to be precise.
We keep highlighting the importance of consistency here, boys. Sean McNamara, the number 1, hovering there in 5th place. Keen to get to 4th on Dylan Pereira, who's keen to try and displace Blake Delaney. But make no mistake, this is a good result for Sean McNamara in the bigger picture.
Yes, certainly is, Dan.
3 to go.
Absolutely, doing really, really well. And we're going to see him put a lot more pressure on. But we've got a
897
contact for the 897.
Hayden Self for the car contact. Is that the pace car? Maybe.
That would be something, wouldn't it?
That's a new one.
That would be a new one, absolutely. We'll get clarification, I'm sure, from race control in a moment. But in the meantime, even with that safety car, boys, this race is going to run in less than 60 minutes. Cory Shepard is 2.5 laps from home. He's now 0.9 of a second clear of Dylan Rudd. Blake Delaney, another 0.8 behind. Oh, no, hang on. Delaney. Jeez. That's unlucky. He's cost himself an almost certain podium there now. And now the fight is really on, isn't it? The fight is really on for 3rd between Dylan Pereira, Jamie Dyke, Sean McNamara.
Oh, McNamara, contact!
Oh, no. Jeez. Dyke to 3rd, gets past Pereira.
Two for one for Dyke, though. Gets around Pereira on the outside.
And Jamie Dyke has been one of those guys that's chipped away at it all night too. We mentioned that he might be one of the ones, as a result of that kerfuffle earlier, boys, he might be the guy that ends up benefiting and grabbing himself a podium. Now he's found his way back there, done it the hard way by Pereira and McNamara, and obviously relying on Delaney to come unstuck. And now he's managed to get himself up into 3rd. Pereira, McNamara, Leonard, Kirby, Grundle, Chrisdale and Delaney, the top 10. That was a costly mistake for Blake Delaney after he done the hard yards and done what was required and had luck fall his way with the safety car. Geez, you feel sorry for him. A lap and a half to go at Mosport. That battle raging at the moment between Pereira, McNamara, Leonard, Kirby. And also at the front of that is Jamie Dyke. So Dyke doing a beautiful job to keep these guys at bay down along the back straight. But Cory Shepard in complete control. A lap and a quarter to go for him. No one giving him too much grief at the moment. Same can be said for Dylan Rudd. They're exchanging blows at the moment, those two, as far as, well, I'll take first one week, you take it the next. Who knows what's on the table when we get to Long Beach. Dylan Rudd missed that round last time by. And, of course, Cory Shepard's the unknown entity in the RSRA Goodyear Warana Superseries. Last lap board in the air. Jamie Dyke still holding on to 4th. 3rd, I should say. That's the battle we want to focus on, because he's got Pereira, McNamara, Leonard and Kirby all fighting for that last spot on the podium, or at least the final 3 spots in the top 5. And Jamie Dyke's doing a nice job to hold on here. It'll be Cory Shepard's night. It'll be Dylan Rudd 2nd. And in only 5 laps, boys, they've already checked out. They've cleared out 1.8 seconds, 1.9 seconds between Shepard and Rudd, and then another 2.5 back to Jamie Dyke. Obviously helped by that garbage that unfolded a lap and a half ago with Delaney, then also with McNamara and Pereira getting into the side of one another by the look of it. But in the meantime, now the drag race, now the weaving, the zigzag, the dart, the weaving. starts on the back straight. Dyke trying to keep everybody at bay. Pereira the closest one, the only one probably able to have a lunge. Down the inside comes Pereira. Dyke covers it off. And Jamie Dyke should be able to hold on to third from that point. But in the meantime, get your hands out and smash them together, ladies and gentlemen. Cory Shepard's got another win in the RSRA Super Series for Goodyear Autocare Warana. Gets the job done in Canada. Second to Dylan Rudd. Jamie Dyke holds off Pereira, McNamara, Leonage and Kirby. Grundle, Crisdale, Delaney, Sheedy, Chadwick, Borg, then Costello. Schultz come home in 16th, then 15th, I should say, 16th for Banks. Nitschke, Alessi, Vella, Norris, Turner and Morris take us back to 22nd. And in the end, as you say, boys, the safety car really changed things. It bunched everybody up. It ensured that we got 26 home on the lead lap, if you don't mind. We're going to have 28 finishes in all of that. Matthew Stoll's the only one not getting to the checkered flag, not getting classified. So where'd we get up to? We got up to Benny Morris was 22nd. Disappointing for him, but after 2 runs through pit lane and 2 pit stops, that's not too bad. Cameron Jones will rue what might have been as well. Started from pit lane and then obviously 3 stops on top of that, including a drive through. Rick Kuznetsov, what the hell happened to him? We didn't see what happened to Rick. He ended up down in 24th.
Pit lane penalty.
Pit lane penalty,
Right,
that'll explain it. Yep, so that's unfortunate for Rick because, again, he's one of those guys that you would label a championship contender, but he's going to be pushing it uphill, so to speak, to achieve that with results like that. Hagersell, Bruce Tannock, then 3 laps down, Mark Newton, and 4 laps down, Brian Good. Matty Scholes, they're in 29th position, the only one not classified. Of course, the other 2, Newton and Good, still make it on 75% classification. So well done to them. Big night here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And the race winner, Cory Shepard's going to light it up. What a burnout that is. What a celebration. And rightly so. Second win of the season. We don't go 3 from 3. That was on the possibility list tonight because we'd already seen Shepard and Rudd dominate the first 2 weeks. We could have added to the list. We didn't. But the potential is there. The depth is there, boys. Somewhere down the track to have 3, 4, 5, even 6 different race winners. As I said to you in the opener, Matt, when we're looking at the grid, when the field runs as low as 10th before you find Rehan Leonage, you know the quality, you know the depth, you know the value.
Yeah, you certainly do. I mean, it's. I keep saying it, Dino, on Monday night. The top 10 get shaken up every week. There's always a couple new drivers. Would it be 1, 2, 3, 4 new drivers in it? And the same thing again this week. Luke Grundle, Robert Crisdale, Blake Delaney, a couple new drivers starting to see themselves inside this top 10. The level of driver capability amongst the entire of the Super Series is just absolutely phenomenal. One of the best we've ever seen since the RSRA has ever started up, and even going back into the nationwide tracking systems days as well. It's just progressed ever so slightly. But the past 4 or 5 seasons, it's just completely blown out of the water with how amazing these drivers conduct themselves.
Exactly right. Let's have a look at some results here, ladies and gentlemen, and remind you what's unfolded on a big night. Cory Shepard, too good in the end. 2.196 the winning margin over Dylan Rudd. A couple of seconds then back to Jamie Dyke. Dylan Pereira, Sean McNamara, then Rehan Leonage, David Kirby, Luke Grundle, and Robert Crisdale and Blake Delaney made up the top 10. Still, high presence of Holdens in the top 10, 7-3. But the old FORDs are up 2 wins to 1 so far in 2022. Our old mate, the Spirit of Tasmania, Chris Kisby, is tuning in from further afield down there in Tassie. He will be smiling from ear to ear, that great man, no doubt about that.
We miss you, mate. We certainly miss you up here.
100%. Actually, I must say, Dan Leake said to us before the broadcast he wasn't going to stick around too long. He's been here all night. Such was the captivating nature of the product on offer for all those viewers tuning in around Australia. Exactly right. 11th for Wade Sheedy in the end, Simon Chadwick, Brian Borg, Rana Costello, Craig Schultz took us back to 15th. Then Stephen Banks, Brenton Nitschke, Dean Alessi, Simon Vella and Hayden Norris to 20th. And in that second half of the field there, just look at the 8 Fords between 12th and 19th consecutively, if you don't mind. So 8-2. So what's that? 11-9 Fords to Holdens in the top 20. Ty Turner, Ben Morris, Cameron Jones, Rick Kuznetsov, Hayden Sell, Bruce Tannock, Mark Newton, and Brian Good made up the field. Before any of the drivers join us here, boys, we'll have them in just a moment, I'm sure. What impressed you? What didn't impress you tonight?
I think it was, all in all, really good run from a lot of drivers. We saw some hard-fought battles right the way through the field. I think a little unfortunate there, Borg and Costello with the incident we saw early on, and right at the end there, Skulls finding way into the fence. But as far as I was concerned, drivers handled themselves phenomenally well. We saw some great strategy come into play, and they really didn't leave anything on the table.
Yeah, I backed Dan up. He pretty much stole the words right out of my mouth on that one. I was going to say the exact same thing.
Fair enough. Stick around with us, fellas. I understand if Dan has to leave at any point, but Matt, stick around because I'll get Driver of the Night nominations and a few other things from you very shortly. Well, actually, Dan's seen his opportunity involved already, but no, thanks very much to Dan Leet for sitting in with us tonight and lending some guest comments, because when I had some tech issues at my end, it helped having a second person there. That is for sure. It looks like he's actually come back into the green room, so I'll drag him back in so that he can say his good nights himself. But that was a premature exit from Dan on that note. We'll get back to him in just a moment. He has rejoined us. Cory Shepard, Dylan Rudd, and Jamie Dyker here in the meantime. Let's get to those boys right now. I might start with Jamie Dyker, if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen. Ludo Lacroix, as he likes to call himself here in Discord. Hey, Jamie, welcome back to the podium, mate. Nice to have you in the booth for the first time this season. Frantic end to that race, to say the very least. You were up the pointy end for most of the night, but they made you work for third in the end.
Yeah, safety car didn't really help me. I was looking pretty good until it let everyone catch back up. But McNamara and Pereira, always good to race against, and yeah, they made me work for it this time.
Yeah, they certainly did. And the other thing as well, you're the big beneficiary of the incident between Rana Costello and Brian Borg. You guys managed to move up through the field there as a result of all of that. I mean, there's always moments in championships that define seasons. I'd hate to think that's the moment that defines Brian and Rainer's. But for you, I mean, mate, it must be nice to have all the hard work and all the perseverance pay off, because when, as I mentioned to the boys not 2 seconds before you guys joined us in the booth, the depth of this field speaks volumes when last year's final season runner-up Rehan Leonage was 10th on the grid tonight. This is some sort of quality, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Our team has worked very hard, set up and pace, and I got my first, I debuted split one in Scots the weekend. So we've really come a long way over the last 12 months.
Absolutely. Hey, just talk me through strategy tonight, because obviously most of the field had got to their second pit stop before that safety car was called. Blake Delaney was the only one in the field that ended up gambling with a one-stop strategy from what I'm seeing on my screen here. And in the end, that it almost worked for him had it not been for a late race mistake.
Yeah, he was good for fuel to make it to the end on a one stop, and it would have been I would have actually been battling him for the third spot podium. So, yeah, a bit unfortunate for Blake, but it is what it is.
Well, his loss is your gain, my friend. Stay there. I'll come back to you very shortly. We'll get Dan and Matt to throw a couple of questions at you in just a moment. But firstly, I want to bring in Dylan Rudd and Cory Shepard, because that was phenomenal stuff from you two fellas, from you two gents. Magnificent, really, in the greater scheme of things. Cory, congratulations on your second round win of the season, mate, and a hard-fought one at that. Obviously, it looked like you had it won after the second round of pit stops. You had a good buffer up your sleeve. Then they throw the safety car, so you had to work hard a second time, and you slowly but surely, built the buffer to get the better of Dylan Rudd in the end, mate. So well done.
Thanks, man. Yeah, the safety car at the end definitely spiced it up a bit for us. That was pretty cool. But the first stint, we just wanted to try and kind of make sure we were out in front, try and keep Dylan behind, and then after we pitted, we opted to not take tyres and take him a bit later on. But we were just trying to keep Dylan behind us as long as we can. We thought he might have been on his newer tyres, and then we hopped onto new ones and tried to just go as fast as we could.
Exactly right. On the subject of all of that, let's have a chat about the mid-race battle in the second stint between you and Dylan Rudd. I mean, you and Dylan Rudd bolted by, a good couple of seconds in that opening stint. You gave yourself a buffer over the rest of the field, but Rudd kept you honest every step of the way. Then we got to the second stint, and then the moves started being made. You defended very nicely on the inside for, I think, 3 laps on the trot, and then on the 4th lap, you open the door, and Dylan Rudd doesn't wait for 2 invitations. He takes the first.
He did, yeah. It was definitely tough keeping him back there for those 3 laps. But, kind of opted and thought maybe it was time to pit, and we knew we were kind of getting, I think we're on lap 25 at the time out of 41, and we thought we really need to get on this new set of tyres. So, that went in not too long after that. But.
Exactly right. And in the end, that ended up being a good call from you because to come in early, Dylan didn't come in to cover that off, and you reaped the rewards, even though you got caught in a little bit of traffic, and a teeny little bit of traffic it was too, on your out lap, or maybe it was one of the other laps very near after that. You still ended up with a buffer over Dylan after that second round of pit stops, mate. So obviously you got the strategy right, you got the call right.
Yeah, I think we definitely did tonight. That was cool. Shout out to Mum and Dad. They did a good job there with the strategy.
How was tyre wear, by the way?
It was pretty good. As we kind of got towards late in our second stint, which was on our first set of tyres, we were kind of getting pretty sideways, especially with Dylan right behind us. But we were doing pretty well to make a fast, I thought.
Very nicely done, mate. Stay there. We'll get some more comments from you in just a moment. Dylan Rudd, welcome into you. You're racking up some good, consistent performances at the start of the season here, mate. First was a bridge too far tonight, unfortunately, but second is as good as you can hope for. Again, we stressed in relation to your teammate, Sean McNamara, that these championships are won on consistent performances, and 2 podiums on the trot is about as consistent as it gets.
Yeah, it's definitely a positive start to the season.
Mate, just your take on the race that was, because, again, Shepard got the jump. You followed in close pursuit. You guys finished where you started. You netted clean race bonus points as well too, boys, just by the by. But it was a case of trying to make your overtaking manoeuvres count, and we got an indication probably the 3rd time around and then the 4th time around exactly how difficult it was consolidating overtaking opportunities. There were a couple of overtaking opportunities genuinely there. Covering them off was the difficult part, though.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I took tyres in the first stop to try and hopefully get in front of Cory and pull a gap, but yeah, I just struggled to make the move stick, which kind of hurt me in the end, but I think Cory had a bit better pace than me tonight overall, and the first one, I think the draft just kept me there, and then he eventually a couple of tenths every lap pulled out of the draft and I stayed with him. And, yeah.
All right, I'm going to open the floor up to Dan Leet and also Matty Davis to throw some questions at the 3 of you. And when they're done, I'll throw through a few more in for good measure, and we'll go through championship points and get you guys to thank the sponsors, and then we'll wrap things up here. Of course, with the earlier start time comes an earlier finishing time of around 10 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time for you, ladies and gentlemen. So stay with us for the next half hour or so. Very quick race tonight too, boys. 57 minutes, 1 second. As we say, if it hadn't been for the safety car, they would have run that one well inside 55 minutes. That was the sort of pace they were carrying tonight. It's a fast racetrack, this Mosport venue, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in Canada, and it certainly didn't disappoint tonight. Clean races also, I mentioned that before I let you take over. We mentioned Cory, Shepard, and Dylan Rudd, but also Dylan Pereira, who I think drove beautifully tonight to finish fourth. That was his best performance of the season thus far. David Kirby, who was one of the rare success stories from those that took the reverse strategy of stopping early and then doing the 2 long runs. Robert Crisdale, who netted a top 10 in all of that, and also Stephen Banks as well. So in all of that, clean race bonuses for 6 drivers tonight, so a fifth of the field.
Yeah, that's a stellar performance by all the boys tonight, isn't it, Cabo? It's obviously, you know, expected of Shepard and Rudd. They were out front, clear the whole entire race. No damage to be taken on by those guys. But to see Pereira, Kirby, and the boys further down the pack to battle it out and come away with a 0x for the 41 lap race, that's an absolute stellar job. Cory, first off, mate, congratulations on the win, or yet another win in the RSRA, mate. The one that I want to know is when it came to the strategy for and after Rudd made that absolute stellar move on you around the top end of the circuit there. What was the strategy before the move was taken by Rudd there for your second stop, and what was the strategy play after it? Was a split decision called to say, no, we're jumping in now and grabbing tyres to see what we can do, or was there something else playing on your mind there?
Yeah, well, I think we're always going to go with our tyres in the second stop, so we had newer tyres to the end. But we kind of, after Dylan got past us, that's when I kind of realised we were getting quite late into the race. We were well and truly past halfway, and we thought it's probably about time to come in and get those new tyres on. Get back out there.
Mate, you absolutely checked out with a 1:16.02, the fastest lap of the race, and a new lap record to boot. I mean, that was an absolutely crazy outlap that you had on that one.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I think I even got a bit of a draft from one of the lap cars. That was.
Dill, mate, obviously, same question with you in regards to the strategy now. You obviously burnt up the tyres trying to get around Shepard. Was the original plan to, when you saw Cory dive into the pits a lap after you made that overtake, was the plan on to come in and react to that, or was it to try and really push those laps out even though you knew the tyres may not be able to hold up to it?
I was running through my mind to come in and pit and stick with Cory, but then I couldn't tell if he was in traffic or not, so I opted to stay out hoping he got traffic affected, but yeah, and then it didn't go my way with him. After I pitted, he was 6 seconds up the road or something.
Yeah, he had an absolute crazy outlap, or crazy couple of laps that took you a little bit to come in as well, and he kept belting out lap after lap after lap in the low 1:16s, and he ended up just catching up all that time that he would have had, and then some, plus 6 seconds by the time he got past you coming out of pit lane. Boys, that just goes to show as well, I guess, and it's one thing to mention that having, and Dan, you'll be able to chime in with this one, having a spotter for you or a crew chief that's sort of live in that race, that really helps the drivers in relation to Rudd's incident there, where he didn't know where Shepard was, whether he'd be out in traffic or he had the clean air.
Having spotter makes a massive difference, especially with the tightness of the field here at the moment. I'm sure, lads, you guys have all had someone giving you a hand, and obviously multiple car teams that 3 of you are linked to. Do you find throughout the course of the run that drivers are providing input up and down throughout how things are going on the track as well?
Who was that one directed? Who was that directed to, actually?
That was
Dan?
to all 3 of them.
All three. We'll start with Cory. We'll actually start with Jamie. He hasn't time. Start with Jamie. Go over to Dylan, then Cory.
I don't take much input compared to I'd say a lot of other people. I really go off the feel of how I'm feeling the car. And yeah, a spotter does help, but usually, like some of the guys in the team, the only useful feedback I'm getting is when everyone is pitting and really if they took tyres or not. I can keep a tab on if they've taken tyres, because all of a sudden they're doing 16s compared to my 17.
Cool.
Yeah, how about you, Don?
Yeah, I suppose definitely useful for the instance in my race there. Didn't know if Cory was in traffic, so I spotted would definitely be handy in situations like that. And just, yeah, your numbers on the go, I suppose, would definitely be handy in some circumstances.
And yourself, Cory, like
Just
obviously yourself and Brian do a lot of work back and forward throughout the course of the run.
Yeah, we do. I definitely talk a lot to my spotter. But then, yeah, I think within the team, the other cars kind of keep it a bit quiet, do our own thing, distractions, and you know, we're all kind of having our own little race separately. So, yeah, it's pretty quiet in that regard.
Just had a message come through from Sean McNamara as well, boys. He said, unfortunately, after that hit, of course, he was one of the innocent bystanders in that incident that we've already detailed between Rainer Costello and Brian Borg. He said we just had no pace after that. So he did well to persevere.
Extremely well.
With that broken car, or semi-broken car, to get home in 5th place. But it just goes to make the point again, Matt Davis, that we made right throughout the night, that the cruel nature of this game being Real Sim Racing Australia, we highlight that necessity for keeping it as real as you possibly can, the importance of doing that. And it was highlighted there because they had no fast repairs, they had no get out of jail free card. They had to make do with what they had, and unfortunately for McNamara, that's what's cost him tonight.
Yeah, it certainly did. I mean, from our point of view, there wasn't much. So a little bit of panel damage on the driver's side, and that was it. It didn't look like it would affect the car too much, but obviously there was something going on with the aerodynamics of that car, though, which was affecting him. That to still to persevere in where he finished and be able to battle out with Jamie and all the boys up front. I mean, that's still an effort on his own. So you can only imagine how fast he would have been with an extremely fast car. That's a scary thought.
Exactly right. Dan and Matt, anything else that you want to throw at the boys here? Well, we've got...
I'm pretty much out of questions here, Dan.
Look, I'm going to throw it again open to the three of you. One last one for next week, off to Long Beach. Very different circuit to what we've seen the first 3 rounds of this one. We're off back to a street circuit. Last time we were there, I believe, from memory, was Chicago last season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Talk us through, like, where do you go mind-wise on a setup approach for this? Obviously, we've gone from very fast-flowing circuit, especially in the last 2 rounds, to a short stop-start circuit. It's bumpy as buggery, doesn't turn very well in these cars. How do you approach a setup for it?
Find one that doesn't hit walls.
No.
It's usually good if it doesn't hit a wall.
Yeah, this is so very true, isn't it? But that's the thing, isn't it? It's fraught with danger next week because everywhere you look, I mean, for the first 3 weeks, we've had circuits with a lot of runoff area. Next week, the margins, the perimeters, they get narrowed right in, and you've got concrete canyons looking at you everywhere you go. So the onus is on you guys next week, and obviously those around you, to be mindful of that from a spatial awareness standpoint, and try and keep it clean accordingly. And obviously, every time you scrape the concrete, that's going to put everyone on edge.
And throw to the mix too. It's the first of the super sprint for the RSRA as well, for the Super Series.
Now, can we get some clarification, actually, just in my earpiece from the great man JP? Are we back to reverse grid sprint races next year, or is it the way... Sorry, because obviously the reason I asked that question, ladies and gentlemen, when we went to the Hungaro ring last year, we had an invert of the field for the second race. Then they scrapped that for Long Beach, and it was progressive grid start where you finish the first race. Where are we going at with regards to this season, please, JP? It's a secret, I'm being told. I hate suspense. Okay, copy that. So no reverse grid because it's not done in the real world anymore. I guess at that point in time, so many of these guys that are listening into the broadcast trying to get some details for next week, Matt and Dan, they've just breathed a massive sigh of relief because we know the sort of carnage that can ensue on a normal, permanent racing facility and circuit when we invert the field, let alone a street circuit.
Oh, mate, I'm missing the reverse grid. That added the spice up in the corner of the year. I mean, that's what we lived for the RSRA, wasn't it, up here?
I'm going to miss it.
certainly for me.
Well, I'm going to miss it too because it's the only chance I'm going to get to the front of the Super2 series.
Now, obviously, thank you very much for reminding me of that, Dan. For those of you just joining us, we didn't give our usual discourse of what unfolded last night in Super 2 because we had some tech issues getting that one to air. So therefore, we are going to bring you that on delay in full from flag to flag tomorrow night from the earlier time, the special time, 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, 5 o'clock for those of you in the West, 9 o'clock for those of you in New Zealand. Jeez, it's nice only having to worry about a couple of different time slots instead of 40,000 across the course of the 6 months. And on that note, can I just say a very happy New Year to all of our Queensland listeners. It's so nice to have you with us finally in 2022. You have been missing out. There's been a lot unfold across the course of the last 6 months. But when we eventually catch you up on what's happened in the next 6 months, you'll be winding the clock back 112 years and going into the summer of 1910, 11 anyway. So I don't even know why we bother. That was just you, Matt Davis. The bait was thrown out last week during the broadcast, and I thought I need to cover it off. Well, we didn't have as much time during the pre-show this week, so I had to wait. So let's talk about Long Beach and let's be a little bit more serious about it. Dylan Rudd, you must be chomping at the bit, mate, because this was the round that you missed actually last season, and it ended up being a championship-defining moment.
Oh yeah, just hope you don't miss it again.
Hopefully, no work commitments creep in the way, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, let me just explore some ground here with you, because you do a little bit of karting in the real world, do you not?
Yes, correct.
How's that going for you so far this year, please?
Yeah, it's getting there. There's been a new tyre coming this year, so just learning that and getting on top of that.
That's right. Yes, new rubber. It's always an interesting dynamic sort of momentum shift when new rubber comes in, because there's drivers that get on top of it quicker than others, and it always shakes things up a little bit. But eventually, and I mean this seriously, eventually things find their way back to the status quo. In saying all of that, obviously it was confirmed today by the Australian Karting Board that we will have the fourth round of the championship in Queensland, the Nationals, up at Emerald in central Queensland. So all the very best to people that are heading up there. Well done to the guys out at the Ipswich Kart Club as well, because they had 280 on their racetrack, I think it was last Saturday, in a one-day meeting, and pulled that off inside 12 hours, as they can because it's a karting circuit. Unlike what Queensland Raceway is trying to achieve on Saturday with 8 qualifying sessions and a 30 race program for 8 categories. That has got disaster written all over it. I'm looking forward to going out there and watching the Titanic sink at some point, but that's another story. Dylan, obviously it's clear that Cory's going to be your main opponent here. We're a quarter of the way through the championship now. We got the 2 sprint rounds, we got the 2 enduros ahead, so some of the heavy lifting is still very much to come. But it's clear that you guys are going to go toe for toe here throughout the course of this championship. Are you enjoying the contest so far?
Yeah, definitely. It's always good fun to race with Cory. So yeah, I'm sure we'll have plenty more battles this season.
Ford fans very happy about your arrival too, Cory Shepard, because after Rainer Costello hasn't been able to trouble the scorers as far as wins is concerned so far this season, you are flying the blue oval flag and keeping the Mustang on the top step there and keeping the Holdens honest.
What we like to see, but it's definitely shaping up to be a really cool championship season, Dylan. It's going to be a good race for everyone. Yeah, see how we go. Look in.
Exactly right. Jamie Dyke, confidence boosting night for you. Give us your take of the season thus far, because as I say, this is the first time we've really had a chance to catch up with you. Winton and Barber left a little bit to be desired, but now you're back right where you want to be.
Yeah, Barber, I was never confident. It was always going to be my worst round of the Winton, I hit those don't cuts, did a Superman, and then launched the engine. First engine I launched. That. But I'm confident for the rest of the season. I'll make a good comeback and do what I usually do. Just the consistency.
Let's explore the talking point about no reverse grids next week. And I say that because we've got about 12 minutes, so we've got a bit of time. With you, Jamie Dyke, the inverts. We heard Dan say that it's the only way he gets to the front, but they were always fraught with danger because it was a case of damage control for anyone that was at the pointy end in race 1 to do as best they could to keep their nose clean in race 2. Are you in favour of progressive grids next week?
Yes. I've never liked inverted grids. They are dangerous and they open up the dive bomb central and blocking, and it's unnecessary.
Yeah. I was going to say, speaking of blocking and defensive moves and kamikaze sends, a couple of those talking points came through from the race just gone tonight that I'm sure will be spoken about in due course after we get off air here. But looking forward to seeing the fallout from all of that. Let's go to Dylan Rudd and Cory Shepard because you guys are at the other end of town. Dylan, I have fond memories of carnage at the Hungaro ring ensuing, but it actually happened in the wrong race. It happened in the race after qualifying. We were expecting the carnage to happen in the second race of the night, the reverse grid. We never saw it. But now that we've got progressive grids, that puts the onus on qualifying well and racing well in race 1 at least next week, because if something does go pear-shaped in race 1, you've got no assistance, no invert to boost you back up the field in race 2.
Yeah, that's right. I'm definitely a fan of the progressive grid. I think it's a lot less carnage to go on, I think.
Exactly. Hey, Cory, before I ask you about Long Beach, I mean, the pace of tonight's race, the fastest one of the season thus far, you guys working up the sweat. You didn't have a chance until that safety car, which came very late in the piece, to relax or switch off for a second or catch your breath. Hard hour at the office, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, especially at a track like this. You've got to be on it all the time. So easy to go off with the double rights up the hill, and yeah, it's really easy to go off anywhere really. So you got to be on it the whole time, and yeah, just have to keep focused and keep it in those apex.
Did you do? Very nicely done. Your thoughts on Long Beach and obviously being progressive grid, maximum opportunity next week for you guys to capitalise in a big way. And extend your buffer that you and Dylan enjoy at the top end of town, at which point then we start to look at it as a two-way fight and we start to, not take the other guys behind you into consideration as much, because at the moment the field's still pretty well bunched up given it is the early rounds of the season. But if you and Dylan continue doing what you're doing, you're eventually going to have some good breathing space there.
Yeah, the field definitely is still bunched up at the minute. Yeah, I think reverse grid's always pretty action-packed, which is good to see, but I think for a track like Long Beach, maybe not being so tight, and yeah, it's going to be, I think, a lot of mischief with or without a reverse grid anyway, so I don't need to add to that, so good to see.
Yeah, exactly. Disappointing night for your two teammates, just quickly.
Yeah, unlucky with them. I didn't see the incident yet. I've heard about it, and yeah, I'll go have a look at that soon. Yeah, definitely unlucky for those guys.
Yeah, and of course, for Rick, the PLP, unfortunately for him. So disappointing indeed, but they'll look to bounce back on that. However, it's going to be difficult for them now because they're going to have to rely on, circumstances around them and misfortunes for other competitors to get their way back into this. It's always a costly blow when you don't put maximum points on the board, or near enough to it at least.
Yeah, definitely, especially without having any top rounds, but I'm sure they'll make it come back, and yeah.
And Dylan, as sure as I am that the old boss there, the head honcho, Sean McNamara, is very happy with the number one sitting on his car at the moment. He wouldn't mind handing it over to you as long as it stays within the team at the end of the season.
Hopefully, I'm sure he wouldn't mind.
No, he had a good run tonight as well. How's the rest of the team sitting at the moment?
Yeah, good. Simon had a good run. I think he ended up P12 in that race, so he's been improving improving this season, which is good to see. So hopefully you can get him inside that top 10 later in the season.
All right, I'm getting the wind up already. Settle down. It's only 5 to 10. It's not even that, actually. It's 10 to 10. From Matt Davis and Dan Lake. But before we let those two boys go, before we let the drivers go, we've got to get you guys to thank your sponsors. Obviously, we'll do that in a moment. Let's have a look at the championship points as they stand. And because I've got tech issues at my end, Matt Davis, I'll get you to run through the top 10, please.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Cory Shepard, the unofficial championship leader right now with 451 points, followed closely by Dylan Rudd, 446 points to there. Sean McNamara finds himself up into P3 now in the championship, followed by Rehan Leonage, Dylan Pereira, Brian Paul, Rainer Costello, who was able to play a little bit of damage prevention there in tonight's race. Rick Kuznetsov, Wade Sheedy, and David Kirby rounds out your top 10 tonight, ladies and gentlemen, for your championship, unofficial championship results. We'll let those scroll on through for you. And Cable, I think we'll get to the drivers to thank a few sponsors and a few sponsors on our behalf as well for tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll pay our bills in just a moment. Before we do that, let's start with Jamie Dyke, third place tonight. A hard-fought third place at that. Geez, the pressure was on in those closing few laps. It could have gone either way. You got some luck with Blake Delaney coming unstuck, and also, obviously, Sean McNamara and Dylan Pereira opening the door for you. Very hectic, about 3 laps from home, but you made it work, you made it stick, and you pick up your first podium of the season, mate. There must be a few people that you want to thank.
Yeah, well, I'd like to thank Moses because parted the traffic twice. Obviously, I'd like to thank our sponsors: Black Wolf Graphics, Precision Sim Training, Relax Marine and Game Fishing, West End Mazda, Parramatta Isuzu, Parramatta Peugeot Professionals, Parramatta Great Wall, and Haval, and just everyone in the team. We've worked so hard at Mosport, and we've got a setup, a quality setup, and a race setup that we like, and we're coming on strong. We've got some pace, and we're going to take it to everyone.
Very nicely done. Looking forward to seeing what you can do. Come Long Beach, mate. Well done again tonight. Let's now move to the bloke that cleaned up at Barber and went so close in Canada, Dylan Rudd.
Just like to thank all the guys at 95 SimSport, our sponsors, Racecraft Simulations, RSW Graphics, Racing East, Custom Ear Protection, Cutting Edge Tracks, and you guys for the commentary.
Very nicely done. Matt Davis, the answer to your question is yes. I could see your screen share, but I still can't get JP's to work. I don't know what's going on. Technology. It's a lovely, lovely, frustrating, bloody thing. Now to Cory Shepard, the race winner tonight. The FORD's on top. The PRT squad on top as well for the second time this season, mate. The floor is yours.
Yeah, just like to say big thanks to Premier Racing Team and everyone inside the team. Yeah, we've done a lot of practice and it's been working well. Also, big thanks to all the team sponsors as well, Racecraft and all those guys. Big thanks to you guys, broadcast, all the admin, and also thanks to Mum and Dad as well. Spotting and doing a good job.
Exactly right. Very nicely done, boys. Congratulations on an awesome night at the office. Obviously, I think we covered off all the bases with regards to the race itself, the strategy, the safety car. Next week, the reverse grid gone, all that sort of stuff. I don't think there's anything less to cover off with these guys, is there, Matt?
Just about what's coming up. Well, not just tomorrow night. We've got the replay, the encore of last night's race coming up tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Australian Standard Time. And for those Victorians, it's 8 o'clock our body clock time. So just make sure to note make note of the big rounds in the kitchen, ladies and gentlemen, or on your phone. But Saturday night,
feeding me straight lines again, ladies and gentlemen.
Look at that. I had to get a time at some stage. Broadcast that.
I'm going to take over from you for a moment, though, because before we go to Saturday night, I just want to thank the sponsors before we do the plug of what's coming up, because we haven't paid the bills tonight, and I feel bad about that, but it's a reflection of how hectic, how frantic that race was at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Goodyear Autocare Warana, of course, naming rights sponsor of the series. Real Sim Racing Australia, the event promoter. FU Suicide, Matt Davis and the great people down there. We will get an update from FU Suicide in just a moment, if that's all right, Matt. And of course, SimShed Broadcasting, our rights holders for the series. And we couldn't do this without great people at Track Cams for Gourmet, SDK Gaming, Overpass Visuals, and Sim Inc. as well. You mentioned the schedule, some Australian Stock Car Championship racing thanks to Custom Paints and Diecast coming up Saturday night, 7:20 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Then, of course, we get stuck into the next round of the RSRA Super2 E-Series Monday night from Long Beach, and that's obviously just the one sprint race there, is it not? So looking forward to seeing how that plays out. And Tuesday night, round 4 of the RSRA Super Series for Goodyear Autocare Warana from the same venue, and that will be Tuesday the 12th of April from 8:05 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Make a note of that, 8:05 Australian Eastern Standard Time is the new start time for both Monday and Tuesday night motorsport now that we're out of daylight saving. And 7:20 remains the start time for the Weekend Warriors on Saturday night as well. Couple of bits of housekeeping before we go. Dan Leitch made a very good point. We get the privilege of racing, well, at least the RSRA Super 2 E-Series does, of racing on Anzac Day. Anzac night from 8:15. I think it'll be race start, and of course 8:05 on air. Boys, this is going to be huge. And to celebrate, there's going to be some special one-off liveries on the server, and a few guys doing some overtime and trading paints to make it happen. It'll look spectacular.
Yeah, certainly will. I can't wait to see these paint schemes that come up from the drivers. I know Dan's probably just as excited as I am. I've already seen a little bit of a sneak peek from the 9.5 boys of what their paints are coming up like. And if there's anything to go by, I'm sure that the rest of the field is going to provide some absolute stellar paint jobs.
I can't wait to see what cars out on track for it. Jamie, what about yourself, mate? Are the team putting something together special for that one?
Yes, we have got some tribute liveries on the way.
Everyone getting into the spirit of Anzac Day, which will be fantastic to see. Oh, what about that? Now my stream comes back from the producer JP right on cue at the end of the night. Oh, geez. The internet, you got to hate it. On behalf of the crew here, thanks for your company. We hope you've enjoyed it. Before we go, Matt Davis, FU Suicide.
Yes.
What's the latest there, please? What's the merch that's going to be available for us to purchase this year, please?
Mate, so far this year, it's been a quiet start to the year. Been doing a lot of R&D on some footies that are just about to be released, just in time for winter. I mean, don't worry about the northern people up there in the sunny state of Queensland. You guys are wearing singlets all the time, flat sticks, so it doesn't even matter whether it be winter or summer. But for the people down in Victoria that have it snow 3 times a day during winter down in the main suburbs, we're going to be doing a product release of some footies very, very shortly, just in the final wrap-ups of getting the pricing and that sorted. So if you haven't already, head over to the Facebook page of FU Suicide. There will be a link posted up on the Real Sim Racing Australia Facebook page, which can take you straight to it. And also keep an eye out on the Shopify store. We'll post up a link for that one as well if you do want to purchase any stickers from us. But these hoodies are definitely going to stand out, and we'll be donating 10% of all hoodies to the Blue Ribbon Foundation. Not the Blue Ribbon, Beyond Blue.
Beyond Blue. Absolutely. I just want to point out something too as well. One thing we didn't make mention of was server time for tonight's race. The race itself started at 6 p.m. local time, which is in the midst of that wonderful progressive civilized concept known as daylight saving in Canada and Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Server time, as you watch it at the moment, is ticking down to the close of the server at 7:55. And look at that, Queensland, it's still daylight. I love Queensland in winter because we're in sync and we're on time with the rest of the East Coast, and you're not getting your news on a 1 hour delay. But at the same time, I was a little bit disappointed because when we're 112 years behind over summer, you only get to 6 months of the actual calendar year. And I was a little bit disappointed that there was no fanfare, no fuss, no celebrations kicking in for New Year's Eve on Saturday night. And I guess given that you had to wait until 2 a.m. to see in the new year properly, I don't, given that this state is normally asleep by 9 o'clock, I wasn't really surprised to see very little in the way of activity at 2 a.m.
You're asleep at 9 o'clock, but you're also up at bloody 4:30 in the morning with full-blown sunlight coming through your windows. So
Doesn't make any sense to me.
it doesn't.
But we'll tackle this issue another day again. If you're in favour of, actually joining the southern progressive civilized states in the 21st century during your summer, your voice needs to get louder over the next couple of months and pile the pressure on the government. It's no good having the voice in summer. I've got it all year round. Don't worry. I'm happy to, call out the BS where I see it. But if you're in support of it, you've got to get loud now and make them take notice before it's too late, before we get to September, October, and all of a sudden we're winding the clock back to 1910 and 11.
Because of the cows.
No, stuff the cows. Milk's getting too expensive for me to give a rat's about the cows. Matt Davis, Dan Leake, thank you. Jamie Dyke, thanks for hanging around as well. Driver of the Night nominations from you two boys?
Oh, I'm on the fence again. Driver of the Night, I don't even know. I'm going to go Blake Delaney. One-stop strategy.
Yeah, and it would have been one that paid off had it not been for that late race spin or that late race off-track excursion. So unlucky there, but one race strategy.
Lead's decision on that one as well.
Go for it, Dan.
Yeah, he took my thing. I'll get him back to that later.
I can see the back end over the webcam.
Very nicely done. Hey, gentlemen, thanks for your efforts tonight. Dan, thanks for sticking around as long as you have. We weren't sure how long you were sticking around for. You ended up here for the whole broadcast, mate. But good luck next Monday night as well in the RSRA Super2 E-Series as well. Yeah,
cheers, boys. Look, it was too good a racing to walk away from in the end. The Lego will have to wait till tomorrow, so whatever.
100%. Watch for Dan Lead on the next season of Lego Masters on the Nine Network around Australia. Looking forward to that immensely. Matt Davis, thank you as always. Looking forward to your company again next Tuesday night, but more immediately, you're back on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting tomorrow night. If you thought the Super Series was good from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, stick around. Replay of the Super2 E-Series tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, as the boys knock that one out of the park to compensate the mechanical failure we had last night. It's unfortunate, but it happens sometimes. As I say, technology let me down throughout the course of the evening as well. So it's not perfect. It's third world in a first world country. We'll eventually get to where the leaders of world technology are, and I may well be truly perished and cremated by that point, but that's another story. Thanks for your company tonight. Brilliant racing in Canada. Cory, Shepard, Dylan Rudd, too good a cut above the rest as they have been for the last couple of weeks. And had it not been for Brian Borg and Rainer Costello getting the hip and shoulder going at the quarter-way mark, that could have been a completely different contest. As we say, it compromised their race. Sean McNamara limped to the line with damage, persevered with that for 30 laps. But it opened the door up beautifully, as Jamie Dyke said. Two Moses moments for him. One on about lap 11, one on about lap 36 for him to come through and get his first podium of the season. Dylan Pereira, Sean McNamara made up the top five. Rehan Leonage edging ever so close to the back to the top of the tree in sixth. David Kirby, Luke Grundell, Robert Crisdale, and Blake Delaney made up the top 10. Case of what might have been for a couple of drivers, a couple of championship-defining moments. I felt as though we got ripped off a little bit because that was a cracking battle for third before it ended all too prematurely. But what we saw beyond that certainly well and truly compensated us nicely. So we go home happy, and if you do as well, then everyone's a winner tonight. Hope you enjoyed our coverage of round 3 of the Goodyear Warana Real Sim Racing Australia Super Series from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and we look forward to your company when we head to the west coast of America next Tuesday night from 8:05. First sprint round of the season from the streets of Long Beach. Of course, IndyCar there. Monday morning, you'll see it live on Stan Sport. For Dan Leet, Matt Davis, JP, and the team, I'm Zach Caban. From here, we wish you a very good night.